cooler than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even got to taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even got to chase.
And I'm back. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you've all enjoyed the start of your work weeks. We're at that time of year. It's holiday season. Me, myself, I'm looking forward to a week off of teaching school. All right. I got 1 week left after this week, and then it's vacation time. But it's also a great time to be a fan of the sweet science. Of course, I'm talking about the beautiful sport of boxing. Estoy hablando del deporte de boxeo. Mi deporte favorito, my favorite sport is, of course, boxing. And this is what we're talking about. And look, if you are a fan of the sweet science, if you are a fan of the pugilist arts, if you are a fan of boxing, I'm sure you enjoyed this past weekend. You must have enjoyed this past weekend because we saw two pretty good fights this past weekend. Of course, most of you would have been tuned into DAZN, I'm guessing, if you paid the pay-per-view fees to tune in to that fight. You would have seen a masterclass performance by Devin the Dream Haney. Pitched a shutout, knocked down Regis Prograis. Look, I don't always get my predictions right. I got this one right. I get a lot of other ones right. Got to give a big up to my man, Joe Habib. He's been a proponent of Devin Haney and his skills for a while. Eric Lorda, my brother's there at Ringside Reporter Live. Got to give a big shout out to my man, H Money, who used to shout, Haney, Haney, Haney. And of course, my brother, Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. And of course, myself, because I've been saying for a while that this kid is super talented. I don't quite understand why people don't like him. I don't quite understand the hate that I've seen him receive across the boxing internet. I just don't get it. This is a guy, and I've said this many times, who went out and fought in Australia, not once but twice, against George Kambosos Jr. when George Kambosos was coming off of his big win against Teofímo López. This is a guy who did everything he could to fight Loma when Loma was the titleist at 135, and Loma left the division. Vacated his belt, handed it over to Devin Haney. But then they wanted to blame Devin Haney and call him an email champion. I never understood that. I never got that. I never was able to comprehend our guy wanting to fight for a title who's avoided, who the other guy decides to vacate his title in order to not fight, then gets blamed and called an email champion. Well, he got his title by email, but then he unified. He became undisputed against George Kambosos Jr., and the rest is history. We saw him take on Regis Prograis this past Saturday in the San Francisco, California. Long workday, San Francisco, California, where he fought at the Chase Center, first boxing event ever at the Chase Center. And I don't think a lot of people are giving Devin Haney the credit that he deserves. He just defeated a guy whose only loss was a close, I won't call it controversial because I thought that Josh Taylor won the fight, but it was a close fight against Josh Taylor. And this wasn't a close fight. This wasn't controversial. Devin Haney boxed Regis's ass off Saturday night. The jab was beautiful. The combinations were beautiful. The fighting at levels was beautiful. And the footwork was beautiful. In and out of range. Half steps to the sides. Half steps back. Right? Throwing the body to the head, to the chest, to the stomach. Following it up with a right hand, with a left hook. Lead right hand. It was whatever you want to say, okay, about where we are today in the sport of boxing. I want to be a little bit positive today because we do have interesting guys young guys, talented guys, guys who potentially might be generational talents fighting in the sport, guys under the age of 25, or I'd say in my case, I'm doing 25 and under, and we're going to get into that. I got to give another big shout out from this past weekend. All right, because Devin Haney did his thing, but you know who else did his thing? Liam Pato did his thing. What a performance. My guy's got boxing skill, boxing IQ, and he's got power in both hands. The way he dropped Montana Love to hurt him the first time and then followed it up afterwards to drop him again and finish the fight, I thought it was a spectacular performance. I thought that he announced himself, and I got to be honest, Devin Haney is actually quite lucky that Liam Paro got injured when he was supposed to fight Regis Prograis at the Smoothie King Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana. And of course, he was replaced by a guy who I thought beat Regis Prograis in Danielito Zorrilla. Was it nice to watch? Not necessarily. Was it beautiful boxing? Not necessarily. Was it effective? Absolutely, it was effective. It was very effective. And I told you guys this last week, and you probably heard Julian Chua say it during the fight where he screamed at Regis that he should move to his right because he continuously was chasing Devin in one direction and one direction only, which was to the left. Same thing was happening against Danielito Zorrilla, right? Danielito Zorrilla would throw the jab, move left, which means that Regis, being the southpaw, would have to move right to close the gap and block the exit points, and he was unable or unwilling to do it. So I think Liam Pato, had Liam Pato not injured himself, would have probably beaten Regis Prograis. And this isn't a knock on Regis. Regis is a great fighter. I just think that these guys would beat him. I think Liam Pato would beat him. And, of course, Devin Haney defeated him. So big up to Liam Pato because that was an impressive performance the other day. Very impressive performance against none other than Montana Love. Montana Love stopped bringing the dog to the ring. I'm not going to say that's the reason he lost. I just think he was outskilled, outgunned against Liam Pato, who turned up. And look, for those people here in the United States that kind of overlook these foreign fighters sometimes coming from overseas, don't overlook these guys because things are happening overseas. Things are happening in Australia, in England. Things are happening south of the border, not overseas, but in Mexico, because, of course, we saw another big moment happen on Saturday when Rafael Espinoza on the ESPN card out of Pembroke Pines, Florida, beat Robesi Ramirez by majority decision. I had him winning clean. I thought he won the fight clean. I think people definitely overlooked this dude, but we have a new WBO featherweight champion, and I'm talking about Rafael Espinoza. So there's another one. Big up to Nando. Thank you, Nando. Nando is dropping the super chat. I really appreciate it. You guys hit the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. After I go live, these become members only. So if you want to watch my content on demand, make sure you do what Nando's done and sign up for a membership. Philly's got his top 5 guys. Drew. Okay. There you go. I guess he's number 1. My man First Class is in the building. Thank you. MEZBX, you're in the building. Thank you. He says, I think Regis beats guys like Jose Ramirez, Rolly, and Arnold Barbosa. That's probably true. I think so. I don't favor him against Pato. I don't favor him against Subriel Matías. I don't favor him against Teofímo López. I don't even know if I'd favor him over Ryan Garcia, to be honest, given Ryan Garcia's speed. The one thing I would say about Ryan Garcia that makes him a little bit of a better matchup for Regis Prograis is the fact that he's a little bit flat-footed and doesn't move quite as well. Doesn't move nearly as well as Devin Haney. But Look, Regis is still a top guy at 140. I just have him a little bit lower than where a lot of other people might have him. I have him behind Haney. I have him behind Teofímo López. I have him behind Subriel Matías. And I have him behind Liam Pato. I have him behind those guys for sure. That's off the top of my head. Slide Tendencies, big up. Thank you for tuning in. And there we go. Mr. All In is asking, you think Matias should have taken the fight in February against Teo? If he was injured, no. I mean, there's no point in going into a fight when you're a champion injured. Because let's face facts, he's a champion. Teo's a champion, but he's also a champion. And as a champion, you should not go into a fight injured and just essentially hand over your title belt. If the offer was legit, and there are people who think that the offer was only made because of the injury, but regardless, if the offer was legit, then the offer should be there again for April fight, for a May fight, for a June fight. And the best time for that fight, Mr. All In, would be Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend in New York City. Teofimo's born in Brooklyn. He's been fighting at the Garden. Matias is from Puerto Rico, even though he fights under a Mexican trainer and trains out of Estado de Mexico, and his assistant trainers from Cuba. He's Puerto Rican. So you put Puerto Rico in there against the takeover, and let's see what happens. That's the fight that I would like to see. Teofímo López unifying his championship against none other than Subriel Matías at the Garden or in the theater. Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend in June. That's what I'd like. Hit the like button, guys.